The fallout of 76 million customers.
A collection of super zeros.
Flaw and disorder.
There are no winners in this battle. Only consolation prizes.
All that and more.
Who the fuck are we punching this week?
These developers.
That's gonna be a lot of people.
Here, I'll start with one.
Yeah, take that.
Oh, we have another one.
Another one?
Here.
Oh, good. Good.
Shall you bring more?
I'm not. Are you sure those were developers? They looked like nice business people, maybe.
Well, they look like the normal type.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because lawsuits and very, very unhappy customers.
Oh, we already have plenty of that, but not with us.
No, not with us at all.
No.
Welcome to episode 51 of the Super Media Brothers podcast. I am Midnight Agent Raw.
I'm Okami.
The flop 10 list is back, you motherfuckers.
How about that shit?
Because, yeah, we just had to do it again. Y'all knew we was going to do it again.
At some point. We just didn't know for what exactly, but we found it.
Inspiration.
Sudden inspiration.
Or as Tenacious D would put it, inspirado. So,
See.
I think before we jump into the list, though, it's going to be video game related. If you haven't been looking at our social media and saw our pretty 8-bit looking asses on our fucking poster for this week.
The only way I look good.
Thank you for making those, by the way. They looked amazing.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, yeah. The thing that made us decide, hey, we should do this, and I think you've heard about it all by now, like big time, is, God damn it, fucking Fallout 76. And we are not talking about this. People are not talking about this game for positive reasons whatsoever.
Oh no. There was so much hype with this game being a massively multiplayer game, being attached to the Fallout brand. And as soon as it launched, there was just a avalanche of problems from the get-go. The common problems being that it was buggy as hell since day one, which they initially rushed the damn launch to get the game out so that they can cash in early on whatever the fuck they had pre-order-wise.
Yeah, and they tried to save their own asses with a 40 gig patch.
Boy, if it's not bad enough to download a game that's like 60 gigs or higher, you have to download another 40 gigs to get a patch.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
But also, on top of the buggy and glitchy as fucking game that they gave us, which I didn't play it, so don't even have to, worry about that part. They literally ripped off their customers more so than, every which ways. A lot of the pre-orders, the special editions had, multiple items that was included, like the power helmet, the duffel bag,
the army men,
the army and stuff like that. Also, they had some like currency things or some kind of like in-game transactions and stuff like that they were fucking with too, remember?
Yep.
But the main thing was they were supposed to ship a collection of items with some of the power helmet edition. And the bag that was promised was supposed to replicate the bag that was within the game, which in turn was a cheap little nylon ripoff that was probably maybe less than $3 worth total.
Yeah, and it's not even the material they promised. None of the things they promised. Mm-mm. And even the little signature army men, based on the game, it was literally just a random, the old school little green army men you can buy, like, 100 of them in a bag for like $1 or $2.
So they basically spent how much? $80? $100 more?
Well, I think it was $200.
$200
altogether.
Okay, $200 worth for content wise, and they got literally a $60 game and probably like $10 worth of shit.
They got the Oriental Trading special.
Yeah.
Like, if we're just being honest. Also, for anybody that bought the PC version of this game, okay, PC gamers have, I don't care what anybody says, gaming is a community all on its own. But I feel like a lot of people that play on PC hold themselves to a higher standard, and that's not in an egotistical way. It's just that's what they fucking love. Same with console gamers.
Mm-hmm.
The PC gaming community that purchased this game, I know whenever I was playing games on PC, I loved having a hard copy of the game. Did they get a hard copy? Fuck no.
Mm-mm.
They got a bullshit, like, looking cardboard, whatever the fuck, with a gaming code on it to download the game. What the fuck?
It's almost as bad as like AOL sending you those like massive amounts of CDs with the freaking code on the back of it to like download for like a 30-day trial period. That's kind of basically the same thing, just minus the disc.
God.
Same like bad taste in your mouth. But
It's-
also,
God.
to reimburse, quote,
Oh, yeah. You guys
to,
ready for this?
to reimburse their customers for this bullshit, they gave them $5 total in-game currency to make up for the loss that the customers received. And I'm like, you do realize they spent $140 worth of money on stuff that y'all promised them. $5 is not going to cover shit.
No. And I want to say that now it's become such a big problem, and I remember hearing or reading this. They're actually going to come through with the bags that they were promised, or that everybody was promised, but they're not going to be getting them until, like, next year.
Like
I think
2019 or
yeah,
2020?
2019, like,
Okay.
I think first quarter or some shit.
I was about to say, but I mean, that's probably because all the pressure from those people putting the lawsuits against them, especially that one law firm that was wanting to do a class action lawsuit on them.
Yeah, I think the thing that really pissed people off the most is that the time they spent on this stuff, they should have had their shit together.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm sure the same could be said just like whenever they rushed the Justice League film out into theaters. The executives rushed it to get their bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this was it, but I'm almost positive it was it.
There was some kind of like early cash in with them, basically.
Had to be. And you think we're done. We're not. I think everybody listening to this that plays games and is an avid gamer knows of the other controversy that happened with Blizzard Entertainment
Which
and the
is
Diablo announcement.
so surprising. These companies have so much integrity that they just like dropped like within a dime, like on the spot. I'm disappointed in both of them. Because, you know, Blizzard makes one of my favorite games is Overwatch, so I'm kind of surprised that they're doing shit like this.
Yeah, it's not cool. And I have to agree with the dude in the crowd that asked if it was an early April Fool's joke or an off-season April Fool's joke, because, okay, I understand, like, they're probably proud of that game on mobile, but come on, if you're saving that for your main announcement, like, that's bullshit, dude. I think everybody there was expecting a console announcement.
Something.
Yeah. I would say what a time to be alive, but it is, but it's not at the same time. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, 2018 wasn't a bad year. I think it just started to end like on a sour note for a lot of us.
But let's just hope that 2019, not the year, because it's not the numbers' fault, but, you know,
No.
let's just hope the year and some of the people going forward in the entertainment industry, especially gaming, gets their shit together and makes up for it, because that was a bullshit-ass Christmas present, if I may speak, you know, that way. It's what it felt like.
Well, I mean, look at EA and they did with Battlefront.
Don't even get me started, dude.
They're still doing shit like that, and yeah, getting away with it.
That almost made our fucking list. Like Chris Jericho says, you just made the list. We have a fucking list, and if you would like to get into that, I'm fucking ready, because
Yeah, we're already hyped up for this fucking bullshit session.
look, guys, I think that we're always excited to do episodes, but I think this might be one of the episodes we've been the most excited to do, essentially just because we spent so much time mowing through dozens of fucking games. Shit, even before we started recording, we spent so much time mowing through and playing dozens of games. Just
Whether it's for like 30 seconds or like a couple minutes, you know, we suffered for you.
yeah, because some of these games
Again.
say like, oh god, 30 seconds, that's not enough. Well, god damn it. Sometimes we couldn't even get through the stages on some of these levels, and it was like 30 seconds, and I was like, dude, fuck this. I'm not even... Or it was just so fucking bad that I laughed. I fucking laughed. And some of these games I remember from my childhood. Some of these games I remember from my teen years. And I'm looking back going, we were buying this shit? We were actually hyped up and excited about some of this shit? Come the fuck on.
Or, more importantly, this came from this series?
Yeah, because that's the fucked up part. We've got such an array of games to talk about. And they really span from, like, classic games... all the way back from the Nintendo Entertainment System, all the way to current and next-gen console gaming. It's unfucking believable the amount of fuckery that has happened in the gaming industry over the years. And that's not to say that every game that is on this list is absurdly bad. There are a few of those, but some of the games on this list were terrible because we expected more from them in a franchise.
There was enough qualities about them and a negative aspect that make us turn our noses up like, mm-mm.
And a lot of people out there, when they had seen this, I had a couple of people, are you going to talk about E.T.? No, that would be fucking typical to talk about the E.T. Atari game.
Everybody knows about E.T. Everybody knows about the shit that it started and almost crushed the whole gaming industry.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah, that and the Atari Pac-Man single-handedly almost ended the shit. But...
what we're doing is wanting to put these games with that pile
of shit
in the desert and just bury them with it.
Yeah. So we have resurrected our lovely Flop 10 tournament bracket, which we will take 20 games and throw these motherfuckers into battle with each other, and we will rank them from 10 to 1. Obviously, games like E.T. are the fucking pinnacle of terrible. Some of these games on this list you may be surprised to hear. Some of them you may not be. But when we paired them off to go against one another, these games either have something in common with one another. They're a part of the same franchise. It's the same style of game. The creators of the game. I mean, you'll recognize it.
Yeah, you'll pick up on the commons.
Yeah. I guess we should probably kick this one off with something that just got announced recently. Mortal Kombat 11 got announced recently, but Mortal Kombat didn't always have the best of video games.
No.
In fact, we have two of them facing off in the first round.
Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero versus Mortal Kombat Special Forces.
Oh my fucking god.
Now, most of y'all probably never heard of Special Forces. I didn't know about it until yesterday.
Yeah, dude, look, okay. Special Forces, it was on the PlayStation 1 from 2000. And god damn, like, who the hell is like, I want to make a Mortal Kombat game? You know who would be a really good lead character?
The one character
that
nobody cares for.
Jax. The fuck? And it's not even like traditional Mortal Kombat.
No, he runs around, you basically punch and kick until you get guns, and then that's all you use throughout the game is just shooting your enemies.
The designing on the game and the levels were just atrocious as fuck. The gameplay felt very tedious.
It was over the top angle with the camera, so
yeah.
Basically that's all you saw was just Jax at a head view. The combat was just, like I said, boring and stale. The character roster wasn't even that interesting. I mean, it was just Jax, Kano, or who was it?
What's that?
The characters they were introducing. It was Jax, Kano.
There's Gemini. No Face. Fuck, who else? Jarek and Trimmer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there were a bunch of just...
kind of not so interesting people.
No. And it was one of the lowest, if not, I think maybe the lowest Mortal Kombat of all time. And it's considered to be like one of the worst ever.
Yeah, because we actually watched the gameplay of this. We weren't going to test it out, but we watched the gameplay of this, and it was so lackluster. Like, it was just atrociously lackluster.
It is fucking just unbelievable. Like, we're not kidding. It's unbelievable that some of this shit was ever made and made it past production.
Also, the intro was really just bizarre. Like,
yeah.
it felt too lighthearted and, like like a buddy cop action flick kind of feel to it, which I guess they kind of pulled that same feeling with the game. Like, this is supposed to be like taking the Mortal Kombat skin and put it on this like action adventure cop thing.
Yeah, because that's essentially what it is.
Because basically Jax is called in to round up all these loose enemies or loose, fiends of the Mortal Kombat universe that break out.
Black Dragon.
Yeah. So he's chosen to go and take them in. So that's literally all the game is. There's no other story behind that.
Yeah, there's it's beat 'em up, it's key collection, puzzle solving, you name it. It's
things you would never put to Mortal Kombat.
Exactly. And so that goes up against Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero, which came out 3 years prior in 1997, and it was kind of an action adventure fighting. It was side scrolling, but it was still the fucking motion capture style that we're used to in a Mortal Kombat game, old Mortal Kombat.
Imagine, if you will, the game itself, the regular Mortal Kombat game, but they transition off the stage. They just have like a little path that they follow, and you have the same motions, same fighting mechanics, and everything. And it's an adventure mode, and the combat is not even that fun to begin with. I played it.
No.
I played it years and years ago when it. I want to say like a couple years after the fact, whenever it came out.
Same.
And
did you have it for 64 or PlayStation?
64.
See, I had the PlayStation one. God,
it was still frustrating.
Oh fuck yeah, it was, man. And I just recently played it on the 64, but I grew up on the PS one, and fuck, dude. When you were like, oh, just imagine if we will, off the stage. That's where I was at half the time, off the fucking stage.
The jumping mechanics are just as bad because you literally take the combat system's jumping mechanics and apply it to platforming. That is two things you do not mix together, and it will fucking piss you off every step of the way. Also, another thing, he learns his moves over the course of the game. He doesn't have his ice shot that he is so famous for. Yeah. No, he learns that shit.
Learns it.
So what the fuck happened to Sub-Zero to where he loses all of his powers and becomes this like pussy of a fighter?
It's set before the event of Mortal Kombat, like the original one. That's literally all it is. And I think this was meant to be like a beginning of a franchise for Mortal Kombat, to have the mythologies to where they would have like a spinoff for every character. It should have been Scorpion. But
this was not the way to do it.
No.
Which I don't think that would have been a good way to do that, to be honest with you.
I guess I'm being partial. Scorpion's one of my favorite characters, but
yeah, I mean, you can probably get away with like putting the character, its popularity on another type of game genre, but it's just I couldn't imagine it because just how much of a staple Mortal Kombat is as far as fighting games go. I can't see it divert any other direction because I mean, look at these two games. Neither one of them did well.
No.
It's diverting from the formula.
Yeah, and playability as far as the difficulty level of these games. The reason Mortal Kombat's Sub-Zero is so fucking terrible, in my opinion, is the layout, obviously. Like, putting that kind of control on your platforming. The fact that there is a separate button to turn him around, to face another direction, fucks you up so bad. Because in fighting games, when you jump over somebody, you're turned around in midair. You're facing your opponent at all times. It
auto turns, yeah.
Yeah. So this shit here, doesn't fucking work. And then the combat itself is so fucked up because you have more than one person, and you have to press a button to turn around and punch somebody else, and then do it. You get killed more often than not.
And see, that's the problem. You're so used to the old formula. You're used to fighting one person in the same exact style. Now you have to multitask. And like you said, pushing a button to turn doesn't really aid in that conquest. I'm sorry.
No, it really doesn't. So, my note for that, obviously, is...
Your nope for that?
Nope for that is piss poor execution. Decent concept. Which one out of these games would you say is worse than the other?
I mean, Special Forces is god-awful in so many areas.
It's god-awful, but it's my thing is it's god-awful, but it's at least playable to progress and win.
But there was really nothing interesting about that game.
Yeah.
At least with Sub-Zero, I mean, you had a character that you actually cared about, and it kept similar to the formula and the style and look, even though it sucked. I still would give that one the nod.
Okay, so you say that Special Forces should go on to the next round. All right, so that's what we do on this one, guys. We do it. Nothing is predetermined. We are doing this on the spot.
Yeah, because we literally just have the paper with them listed. We don't have them like, oh, well, this one's determined to win, so we should just do it like that. No.
Fuck that shit. It's debatable, son.
We're not scripted. We're unplugged.
That's right.
Except for this shit.
Yeah, no shit. There's a lot of wires. So, let's move on to the next round of yet another beloved franchise that just had a few fucking missteps. But two of these...
A few? It's been like a whole couple years.
There's a blue misstep.
Yeah.
There's a few blue.
Dabba-dee, dabba-die.
Right? Good. Guys, Sonic the Hedgehog is probably one of the most beloved video game characters of all time, right up there with Mario.
From the 90s.
Look, I am a fan of the original 2D platform side scrolling. Mm-hmm. The moment they turned this motherfucker 3D, I almost lost complete interest because you cannot go fast this way.
There was really only one game that was decent, and that was the director's cut for Sonic Adventures. That was the only one that would be tolerable out of the 3Ds.
Yeah, that one in God damn it, the one where he turns into the werehog.
Oh yeah, I didn't play that one.
So. That one was all right, but
these two, Sonic 2006,
and that was the one that was supposed to reboot for the Xbox.
Versus Sonic and the Secret Ring.
Okay. Now, I'll lead this one off with Sonic and the Secret Rings. You know how I found out about Sonic and the Secret Rings? It was on a discount shelf at Best Buy. I didn't know the game was made. I didn't know it had come out. I had a Wii. I was like, hey, Aiden's birthday's coming up. I'm going to get him a Sonic game. Oh, motherfucker. This is probably one of the worst goddamn Sonic games ever. Not to mention the fact that for the Wii, the controller, you don't push buttons for him to run. You turn it sideways, the Wii controller, like the regular Nintendo Wii controller. Turn it sideways, you tilt it forward to run, and you steer him left to right. You have to collect rings, and you have to collect a bunch of shit within an allotted amount of time on each stage. I think the only thing you do is press buttons whenever there's a homing attack, because you jerk the controller up to jump him. And all the while that this is fucking happening, the same fucking song is looped over and fucking over. And it is the most god-awful thing when you've heard it so many times. I cannot stand that shit.
And it was funny because we were playing Smash, me and Aiden, yesterday, and he mentioned that song. And he was like, oh, look, it's the Sonic and the Secret Ring song. And y'all said, yeah, it's the one that plays over and over. And I was like, I never heard this song.
7 rings in hand.
And I listened to this song, and I'm like, I would gut my own ears if I had to listen to this shit for more than an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt. The game's not really even that great. Now, the thing about this game is it was delisted from retailers in 2010. That's how bad it was. Sega removed every Sonic title with sub-average Metacritic scores. And this one was no exception. There was a direct sequel called Sonic and I think the Black Knight.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun game because it was, the sword play. But this game, fuck this game. And of course, the one that was trying to reboot Sonic for a new generation.
Sonic 2006, with the whole controversy of Sonic is getting his freak on with his princess human.
Oh, man.
Because there was the whole... okay. There is videos out there of like the most awkward gaming moments, the worst gaming moments, the most what the fuck moments in gaming. This was one of them on a couple of videos. For the fact that in one of the scenes where Sonic is, incapacitated or something, he gets kissed by this princess in this game. Human. And it's like a love interest.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Just saying.
With his cock rings.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Sonic and the Secret Cock Rings.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
Bling bling, motherfucker.
I'm so confused as to how Sega was like in their little boardroom for the ideas. Like, you know what? We should reboot this system. We should reboot this series. What can we do?
Well, I know a guy that's called the Hedgehog, Ron Jeremy. We can make a porn out of this game.
You know what? That's not a bad idea.
Let's do it.
Not actually do it, but,
Oh, damn it.
put your pants back on, Jerry.
God damn. Okay.
But no, this game, outside of it being, terrible, it's just such a fucking creepy concept to have an animal fucking around with a human.
And that is just the cherry on top of this fucking shit cake. Guys, the gameplay itself was fucking terrible, okay? It was buggy as fuck. It was very glitchy. There would be times running down a hill, you'd fly right off the fucking screen.
Like, I can imagine myself playing this in my mind. I know I'm suffering from an aneurysm doing so. Just all this shit going on. But in the end, there's really no competition here if you really think about it.
Yeah, seriously. Like, from the loading times on this motherfucker, the camera system, the stability of the fucking controls, and the story. This is, to me, hands down the fucking winner. This is like this is probably the worst Sonic the Hedgehog game that has ever been put out. And I fucking hate the Secret Rings.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that game, and this one just burns my ass to think about.
There are too many issues here to ignore, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for this list, but unfortunately for our souls. Because, we love Sonic. We really do. We have a, little action figure of him right here on our table, and he's kind of pointing at me like, don't talk shit about me.
I know, he's looking at you. But to be fair, and I think that's what breaks our heart with some of these, is we have a lot of our animated and, fictionalized character heroes on this table with us. A lot of them. Nintendo, Sega, comics, Star Wars, you name it, they're on here. And some of them are in this list.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, but let's move the fuck on. Guys, okay. It's not just fictional characters that have made this list. Oh no. How many of you out there have played a little game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5?
There's very few hands.
How many of you out there have played against its competition for this round, Crazy Frog Racer?
Probably even fewer hands. Well, there's one.
Let's talk about Crazy Frog. Crazy Frog was, I shit you not, for those of you out there that are too young to remember this little bastard, this probably speaks to our age, I don't even fucking know, but this son of a bitch was created as a ploy to sell ringtones back in, the early 2000s?
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, and goddamn, like, this thing was everywhere. They tried to do, the Axel Foley theme from Beverly Hills Cop. There was this one called like Popcorn or some shit. They had a fucking Christmas one. MC Hammer, Queen, the Cha-Cha. Fuck, they had the Cha-Cha slide. This little bastard was everywhere. So
there were commercials of this fucker all over the fucking TV. And then they're like, make a fucking game to make his popularity soar even more.
2005. Let's put this shit out on the PlayStation 2, the Nintendo DS, the Game Boy Advance, and Microsoft fucking Windows. In Europe...
Why? Please, tell me, whoever made this, why?
Why?
Why? Do you really think you made enough money to compensate for the amount of copies you made of this game?
And here's the fucked up part about this game, dude. This game is not so much terrible. It is just a typical, it's just a typical racing game with the Crazy Frog name and character attached to it. Other than that, it's decent. But just based on the fact of what it is, it's fucking terrible. The game that I played, I didn't really care for it. It felt just thrown together. It felt thrown together. There was nothing special to set it apart from anything else. That's why I thought it was bullshit.
But that's why you have such a huge competition with racing games in the industry. You have Mario Kart, you have Gran Turismo, you have Need for Speed. You have all these racing games that do something different. This one does nothing different but attach an icon to it, a visage to it. and expectations to be good are based on that icon. And that's the fault right there.
And coincidentally, that is the fault with this other game, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. Guys, I think I speak for you, me, and a lot of people listening to this. Tony Hawk is the Michael Jordan of professional skateboarding. There will probably never be a better skateboarder than him. The video games he put out were fucking amazing. I can tell you right now that the first Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, all the way up to like Tony Hawk's, Underground 2?
Yeah.
Those were some fucking amazing games. Tony Hawk 2 is probably one of the most classic ones of the whole franchise. And then there were other games. Project... oh, god damn it. Was it Project 8? He had some other games that came, but they went back to the Pro Skater series. Fuck, guys, this game is just disappointing all the way around.
It's like empty and glitchy.
Yeah, there were so many like design and technical issues with this game. It was so fucking frustrating to play this. It was so just broken.
You know, one of my favorite things to do playing those games, besides like doing all the regular shit, was to unlock the videos of all the skaters and just watching them do their thing. Like, I don't have the opportunity to see them all the time back in the day. Because, you know, YouTube wasn't that big back then. So now I get to watch like Rodney Mullen, Ben Margera, Tony Hawk and everybody else like perform outside the X Games and shit.
Yeah.
This would be the only reason why I would buy that game. Is to watch that shit.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that if you look at the past games, the gameplay felt real. Like there were some games where it was like, okay, they just kind of get onto the guardrail, but they had like balancing systems and things like that. And then you would always have like you'd have actual people like Bob Burnquist, fucking Mike Vallely. You had all these really great professional skateboarders like just put in this game, the who's who. And it's not even so much a roster issue at this point. It is literally the gameplay for me, because the gameplay was a big part of this. There was like the story modes were really awesome. The level design was amazing. They really put thought into it. This just felt so fucking thrown together. And the problem is that, you know, the big part of it was being able to like chain together tricks and shit. You do your manuals, you do grinds and shit like that. The problem is that there was a thing they had on here, and I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's like you slam the character down. It's a way to get him out of the air. The problem with that is that same maneuver is also programmed to the grind button, and if you fucked with it the wrong way, you could fuck up an entire chain and lose your points. That was so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, and on top of it, there'd be points in the game where you could like maybe go up to a half pipe, and you'd fall off the skateboard, and you were just springboarded into the fucking air, ragdoll physics and all. What the fuck?
I think what they did was they had the inflated ego of making the past games. They're like, you know what, we have this patented formula that works, so now let's create another game, but kind of slack off basically on the fine-tuning and the polishing part. And I think that's where they fucked up, because they knew the name would sell, the fan following's already there, so there really is no effort per se on their part to do. So now they're like, okay, we fucked up bad, because this game is shit.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's my thing. So you pay $60 for a game that's this fucking glitchy, and the brand that comes along with it, you expect nothing but the absolute fucking top quality best.
And you don't even get nearly close to that.
So, do you think that's a clear fucking decisive thing on this one?
Sorry, Birdman. But you going now. You going up there. For shame.
I never thought I would see the day where I said a fucking Crazy Frog game is better than a Tony Hawk game.
I mean, you said it was decent, playable.
That's the thing.
This was not.
That's the thing. Like, God, it's... Fuck, I feel terrible, but fuck it. Shall we, I think we're going to be moving on to a couple of video games that are going to split the shit out of some people on this.
Yeah. So, next one on our grand tour, Duke Nukem Forever versus Aliens Colonial Marine. We as a gaming community already know how terrible Aliens Colonial Army I can't even speak. Colonial Marine is. the game itself had a good concept. Just the scare factor, the terror, going through, the whole 9 yards. They didn't do it nearly as good as they thought they were going to.
Not at all.
For one. Two, it was too buggy. It was so buggy that the horror aspect of the xenomorphs was completely irrelevant to them, going through the walls. Or if you've ever seen the video of the Hello My Baby one that's dancing in the corner, it's like, okay, this is not horror. This is not even scary. This is not, giving me fear. This is fucking funny to me.
No, absolutely. And the other thing that sucked about this was the xenomorphs aren't even throughout the entire game. You maybe spend a quarter of the game with the xenomorphs, and the rest of it is against the corporation. It turns into an action shooter.
Which is not what the series is known for.
No, the fucking AI is poor as shit, like you just mentioned, like especially with the xenomorphs. But more often than not, the character of O'Neill, he's supposed to tag along with you with this badass weapon, and he doesn't even fucking fight with you half the time. He just fucking stands there.
And gets you exposed.
Yeah. Fuck that shit, man. The sound design and the weaponry is really good, but that's about it.
And it had to take them to make Alien Isolation to finally be like, look, this is a game that we actually deserve for once. Because this one was not even close to what we were needing in the series.
And I think the biggest disappointment of all was that this game here, Colonial Marines, was supposed to be a direct fucking sequel to Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
We got the shaft on this son of a bitch. I know if any of you out there have played this, you know what we're talking about.
Yep.
Duke Nukem Forever. I don't even know where the fuck to begin with this shit because you know me. A lot of you out there that listen to this probably know me. I fucking love Duke Nukem. When this game came out, I was so fucking hype because it had been, since 97, whenever they started developing this game. 14 fucking years later, and that's what we get.
And they didn't get nothing. Nothing. I mean, I don't mean it like literally nothing. Like, we got the shit end of the stick, or the pointy end of both sides, basically.
Yeah, I mean, for the time that it had come out, the graphics on it, I feel like, because it was on a PS3, mind you, but even still, the graphics for it were so underwhelming. The graphics were underwhelming as shit. The humor is dated. Like, Duke Nukem, granted, we know who Duke Nukem is. He didn't change his character, which that's okay, but it's also the biggest part of the problem of this game.
You think you would adapt to the current humor at this point and not make it so, 1990s or 19 whatever, Yeah. Just, we retired that humor by now. So come up with something that's more current and still to his character. Try and, work with that, and they didn't do that.
No, and that's the whole thing is, for the people that are huge hardcore fans like I am, that's well and good, but at the same time, I think a lot of us out there expect a little progression. And I think this also falls into the lineage of really this fucking happened in a pretty decent franchise. That was my biggest argument with it. It was just very disappointing to me. It should have been more.
I wonder if they noticed the progression with like Doom and Quake and Unreal and all that they're like, well, we can't stand a chance because they're already pushing so many games out. Why should we even bother to make anything half decent? They took them 14 years to make a game that's like half quality because they were just too busy looking at everybody else's success. Like, well, we can do that. Oh, maybe we can't.
Yeah.
Now we know we can't.
Like the literal only good thing about this game was John St. John's performance as Duke, who is as always excellent and fucking, there's nothing less than good about this guy. He's fucking awesome. So I commend them for getting him on board and him still doing it justice because it wouldn't be fucking Duke Nukem without John St. John at all. So I'm not dogging the actual performance of the voice acting or any of that shit. The gameplay itself was just fucking horrendous compared to what we should have come to expect.
And the writing, too. I mean, like we talked about.
Yeah. This is a tough one for me because, I don't know. I think there's enough lineage with the Duke Nukem where it's like, this was terrible. Hopefully they'll learn from it. Maybe they'll make a better one. But who knows? I don't know if we're going to fucking get another one for another 15 years.
Honestly, I mean, both of these are like a slap in the face for both of the titles of, the series, basically. I'm more biased with Alien Colonial Marine because I'm a huge Alien, buff, basically.
Yeah.
However, being that they made a better game eventually, and they progressed finally from that to Isolation, they've kind of made up for it in the series. Knowing that it took over a decade to make this one, and they still sucked at it. I mean, I think I give the edge to Duke.
Yeah, I agree on this one. He goes on to the next round.
Mm-hmm. Because you have one side, they learned from their mistakes, and they finally made a game, regardless if it was a different company or not. They actually did progress. This one, however, they're not really doing anything.
Yeah.
They're just like, okay, well, we screwed up. Oh, well.
Yeah, and again, I think it relied way too much on nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. There wasn't enough of a good mixture. So, we're going to move on from that one to one of everybody's favorite comic book showdown, Batman versus Superman. And we're not talking about Dawn of Justice. No, fuck no. Fuck no. We're talking about Batman Forever, the video game, versus the infamous Superman for the Nintendo 64.
There have been so many Batman games over the years. This one, it's campy, it's cheesy, it's very rip-off-ish, for one. Because you have that Mortal Kombat fighting system where it's like the side-scrolling motion capture as fighting style, and it's the same Sub-Zero type, progression with the map and stuff. The only problem that Sub-Zero did right versus what this one didn't do was how to navigate.
Yeah, because if you are not actively looking where to go, you're gonna be stuck on the opening fucking level.
You're gonna have a bad time.
You're gonna have a real bad time.
Because one of the biggest problems with this game was you didn't know where to grapple. And you didn't know how to grapple until you sit there and fumble with the fucking controls for 5 minutes. Until you go, oh, well, there's a hole right here above me I didn't even see. And then this is the right combination to do that, to get up there. So you could be on the same fucking level the entire time because you can't even figure it out because they don't tell you what to do.
Right?
There's no tutorial.
By the time that you've figured out what to do with Batman, somebody else has already come along and adopted Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucked.
Or Jason Todd died.
Yeah, exactly. Jason Todd has died, and we are now on the third Robin going on into fourth Robin, Damian. And you're still going to be stuck on this first fucking level playing with your grappling hook dick.
We're still stuck on Val Kilmer.
Yeah. You're Kilmering me, Smalls. Fuck.
Valiantly.
Yeah.
Killing us.
Valium. You'll need it to play this fucking game. Valium Kilmer. The video game.
Not to mention, their naming system for all their enemies is, atrocious.
Oh my fucking god, dude. There
was Riff, and then there was Raph.
Not Riff Raff, but Riff and Raph.
And then all of the mental patients were Mad something. Mad Joe, Mad John, Mad Mike, Mad this.
Mad Max.
Max.
Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah. Just very dumb concepts for names. I don't get it.
And the graphics were shit. And this is Super Nintendo. And it's the same style as Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat looked better.
Yeah.
Same time frame. The Sega version of this game was even more fucking atrocious. And which, by the fucking way, going through and playing a lot of these games, I've noticed something. Super Nintendo's graphics were fucking so much better on a lot of these games, dude. And that's unfucking believable when the Genesis was supposed to be the superior system.
You had 16 versus 32.
Exactly. It's just
you had double the power of processing graphics, and you still sucked.
Eat a dick.
Yeah.
Eat 10 dicks. So, from Batman Forever to fucking Superman.
You all know about this game. If you've seen videos of it.
Or have, unfortunately, spent the money to play this game. I'm sorry if you have.
This is not the Indestructible Man. Not even close.
Flying puzzles, the game.
He's literally, the cartridge is made of kryptonite.
Because it will fucking kill you.
Yeah. Because all you do is just, like you said, just fly through rings. Or pick up boxes and just glitch through the floor, glitch through the wall, or glitch through the ceiling.
With an impossible time frame to do this shit in.
Yeah, they really did not do this game justice at all.
Literally no justice. A league of injustice, if you will. And here's the fucked up part. If you don't have any idea what to do, both of these games, you will be stuck on the first fucking level. You will, by the time you get to the second level, Superman has died and has come back.
He'd be Justice League.
Yes. God damn it. Superman 64.
Yeah. I mean, as much of a headache Batman Forever was.
It was still entertaining in some form of fashion.
It was campy.
Yeah. I love, we just look at each other, just Superman. Superman, that hoe.
Mm-hmm.
No! No! I mean, it could be worse. It could be the Soldier Boy console.
Oh?
Yeah, Superman, that hoe. Superman, that no.
Crank that console.
Crank that console, boy. God damn it. Superman fucking 64, guys. So, moving onward. I think this may have been the gold mine of the finds whenever we were just searching and scouring for shit.
Yeah, because he told me about Pit Fighters, and then we happened to fall across the other one contending on this one. Let me see if I can read this correctly. Best of the Best Championship Karate for the Sega Genesis.
Okay. Championship Karate. Karate. May I interest you in the video game's, description?
You might as well.
Okay.
Just save y'all a lot of time of Google searching 2 seconds.
Best of the Best Championship Karate is a kickboxing game that features black belt kickboxing masters.
So why not call it Championship Kickboxing?
Oh, it gets better. This game was actually also known as Super Kickboxing and the Kickboxing overseas.
So Championship Karate
is apparently the same as kickboxing.
Since when?
Bitch, win.
Bitch, win.
Win.
When you play this game, you don't win.
You don't win shit.
We tried like 2 rounds of this fucking game. And
we really mean tried, because fuck.
The way it's set up, first of all, the intro music and the menu music is so fucking dumb. Like I feel I don't know what the fuck I feel.
You feel dumber having played it.
Yeah. Second of all, customization of the characters is goddamn hilarious for the fact that you don't change the body, you change the face, but the body stays the same. Like the exact same tone of skin and everything.
Muscle mass, the whole fucking 9.
And it's like there's a standard white guy, standard black guy,
standard
Asian. The black guy's face like doesn't even match the body. It's so fucking dumb and hilarious at the exact same time. So,
1992, everybody.
While we're done laughing about this, we start to play this game, and he starts to play, and I'm watching him do this. All I hear is slamming buttons on the controller because there's literally no rhyme or reason to this control scheme whatsoever. Because the way you have it, you choose what styles of kicking and punching you do. There's no like combinations you put in. No, it's like if I do this set of styles or this set of kicking or this set of kicking, and it's like you have to hold like the diagonal directions and the buttons like simultaneously to do those moves. And I'm like, whoa, yeah,
exactly,
yeah, like that's the hitbox. Like I'm not even hitting at the microphone, but I still hit it.
Yeah.
Also, we don't know how to turn around.
Yeah, this game, I don't know how the hell it happens, but if you somehow get lined up with the other guy and you're facing the same direction, do you know how to win the round? Just back up to the fucking ropes, because the guy can't fucking swing to get a hit on you because the hitbox is fucked up, because the AI on this game is apparently supposed to mimic whatever you're trying to do.
He embraces you.
He hugs you. He hugs you so hard.
He backed him up into the left side of the ring and just sat there, and all you saw was like this tender moment of just, okay, no contest. It's a draw. Let love take over the match.
This is not best of the best. This is chest on chest championship karate.
Also with this strange ass ref.
God damn it.
Dap! Dap! Dap!
Nope.
1, 2, dap!
That's fucking great, dude. 1, 2, nap.
Like take a nap?
He sounds like every Southerner telling an animal to get off his front porch.
Nap!
Nap! Get on out of here. Nah.
Get on off of him.
Right? So, we have that fuckery. And guys, what Pit Fighter, okay? Look, this is a very, believe it or not, well-loved game in the arcade version, which I can believe. We are not talking about the arcade version. We are talking about the fucking port to the Super Nintendo. Jesus Chrysler.
The transition was poor.
Have you ever flipped through and read a comic book where somebody may be standing there with their arms to their side, and then the next panel, the arms are straight up, and then maybe the arms are out to the side? That is how these people fucking move in this game. It's like watching a human render of Mr. Game & Watch.
You could be kicking or punching them, and then all of a sudden you turn like a quick 180 and start punching the other direction. For another starter, you get knocked down, unless you like spam buttons left and right, you're not getting up.
No, you're not getting up unless you're Chumba fucking Wumba.
Third of all, when the CPU knocks you out, he constantly hits you still for a good like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and then he turns around and does this like random pose so that he won. So,
Shit fighter.
Yeah. I actually won a round of that by chance and then was put on a forklift as like the victory rise, you know. Throwing money at me and, you know, yeah.
That's the funny thing about this game is when you're fighting the fucking the bet money, like the pit that everybody bets on is just growing, steadily increasing.
What doesn't grow is your health after you beat the first person. You're going the same health as before to this person who has more health than the last person. So I could have like 20 health and this person has 200 health. I'm like, how is that fucking fair?
Yeah. And you get to pick from 3 fucking characters. You've got Buzz, who's the guy I think we played as the ex-pro wrestler. Then you've got Ty, who is an agile kickboxing champion. And then Kato, who is a 3rd-degree black belt. What a roster.
Whom all seem to hate the title portrait, you know, frame. Whenever you choose them, they break it.
Yeah.
With their elbows.
This is the original Smash.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, fuck this box.
Yeah.
Yeah, this, as far as the worst from these two, it's really hard to pick. Because on one hand, you've got, okay, I can throw punches and shit, but the hitboxes suck balls. On the other hand, it's hard to even use button controls whatsoever.
Limited roster on both ends. I mean, graphics on both ends suck. Like, terribly. I mean, yeah, this is hard to drop because on one end, one's frustrating but funny. The other one's just frustrating.
Me personally, I would give the edge to Best of the Best to go on to the next round because at least Pit Fighter had an arcade system that was a good game and it's just a shitty port. This is Best of the Best is wrongfully titled, by the way. It's absolutely the worst of the fucking worst. So I feel like that game should go on because of the fact that it just sucks, period.
Okay, so, yeah. Worst of the worst championship kickboxing.
Yep. We're not calling it by the fucking name that it got.
Just because we don't fucking care.
We don't.
You're writing it wrong. It's not best of the best. You son of a bitch.
Oh, just wait. Just wait.
There's more.
There's so much more. We're not even through the first like, guys, we're like just a little over halfway. Little over. So, moving right along to another Clash of the Titans, but in a completely different genre. We had Superman and Batman. Let's move on to two horror icons.
Friday the 13th for the NES versus Nightmare on Elm Street for the same system.
I cannot begin to tell you how much we've said it before. Actually, we haven't said it before. We said it before off air, and we're going to say this again. These may very well be two of the biggest licensing wastes ever. Because if you took the Jason Voorhees aspect out of Friday the 13th and the Freddy Krueger aspect out of A Nightmare on Elm Street, you wouldn't even know the difference.
There would be a standard platforming game on both ends. So basically, on one hand, I'm watching you play both of these earlier. You have calm anger. On the other end, you have so much anger that the word shit has been emphasized on 5 different levels.
Yep. Friday the 13th it's a very it's labeled a survival horror, but my god, it's almost too easy of a gameplay. And when I say that, it's not the Jason Voorhees aspect, because you're running along around this camp. There's zombies. There are fucking zombies that pop up out of the fucking ground. And I mean, what the fuck? I understand that there are things like you've mentioned when we were playing it. You have to have certain things in there to kill the time while you're trying to get to the, main objectives and shit. But my problem is that, okay, zombies, there aren't any other like counselors. You switch between counselors. You're supposed to be saving kids and other counselors and stuff. You were walking around throwing rocks, like very inept weaponry, unless you get the knife in the game, which is like the better fucking weapon. You were mindlessly just walking with the same looping fucking annoying ass music the whole time. It's goddamn ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You walk until you hear the beep, and you have to pause, look at the map, and whatever's blinking, that's where Jason is. And you have to go wherever Jason is to save the kids and the counselors that are in the cabin. And the cabin system is so fucking stupid, because you walk in, you press forward, and you can see the walls changing. Is the only fucking way you'd even know where you're at in the cabin, and you have to guess left or right or wherever the hell you're going. And then when you get to Jason, it's like a really poor version of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
It's basically Jason Voorhees' Stab Out.
And he looks poor as fuck too, with that purple and like just like dark lit like vaporwave green, and just god damn it, it's just bad, and if you wouldn't have the Jason aspect in there, like I've said before, it would just be a fucking side scroll platformer.
It kind of defeats the purpose of the movies too, because you're trying to get away from Jason, now you're going to Jason.
Yeah.
So no.
And I think it's frustrating. Like the fact that you want a good game, which if you want a good Friday the 13th game, go get the one that's on PlayStation 4. That's a good one. But this, fuck no. And I think the frustration on that one lies within, it's not ambitious enough, it's boring. On the other hand, A Nightmare on Elm Street is frustrating in an entirely different fucking manner. I can't tell you, I've played this game a few times over the last 20 years. It never gets any... in fact, I wait forever between plays of this game, because it's that fucking frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Same premise. It's a side-scroller beat-em-up kind of platformer. You were punching snakes, bats, skeletons...
People.
Yeah, people... It's a guessing game of which house you have to go into. It's one linear street that you're on, literally Elm Street. There's a shitload of houses, a junkyard, and a cemetery. The idea in the game is to go in these houses and collect Freddy Krueger's bones to burn them. or bury them or whatever the fuck. So you have to collect bones in each level. And these levels are filled with... It's like Castlevania on crack.
Yeah.
As far as like just the flying creatures and the obstacles and...
Like I mentioned earlier, there's just way too much going on in those houses whenever you go in there. There's no safe landing zone for you at pretty much 90% of the game. And then
it's non-linear. That's the other thing.
And then fighting Freddy just seems non-trivial.
Yeah, because he's not even a threat. If you stand in a spot, he jumps around, and he's not even really coming after you. He just it's like a predetermined coding for him to jump around.
Yeah, and he drops like his glove hand on the ground, and it just rises out of the ground every now and then. And it's just like, if you know where they are, you just basically wait for him to jump over you and then hit him.
You just dick and butt punch him a whole bunch until he leaves.
Yeah, he just pussyfoots out of there. I think the most frustrating part for you, besides dying constantly from random baddies, was the second part of him with the face. Because you were trying so hard to like wait for him to jump at you and get the hit on him, but all those tongues kept jumping up around anywhere you would go.
Yeah, because the first boss is like this giant long arm with his claws on him. The second one is kind of a play on Nightmare 3 when he's just this giant like worm snake being. In other words, a giant dick, because in the movie they had to go and gloss over him with slime paint because it looked like a giant fucking penis. Mm-hmm. But that's what they were going for in this game. A giant dick. And this game is a giant dick. So, yeah, there's tongues flying everywhere. There's bats. There's all kinds of shit. And the hit detection on this is fucked up. The response time on the punches and the attacks are just cunty all around. It just, you just play it and believe it. Because, fuck. I've got nothing else for this game. It's utterly frustrating. It's tedious as fuck. It's non-linear. You spend more time dying because you don't know which house to fucking go into next, and you're getting killed by all the insurmountable obstacles that just pile up on top of you the whole fucking way. Mm-hmm. It's almost impossible to win. So, it's either that... or it's another game that's almost impossible to win, Friday the 13th. The only redeeming quality of Nightmare on Elm Street is that it is a challenge and that it is, there's action, there's stuff to do. Friday the 13th, the game to me is just as boring as the fucking franchise is.
Which I kind of had the same thought too. I mean, there's more going on with the Friday the 13th Nightmare on Elm Street than it was Friday the 13th. So I kind of give it more of a nudge to that one.
So Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my, yeah.
Not to mention the jumping out of the water zombies.
Oh my god, that's just
so fucking random.
Pew! Like, all right.
Just row underneath them.
That shit's funny too. When you get in a boat on that game, you look like you're fucking shooting rocks out of your ass, flying, just floating backwards. And, yeah,
weird.
So that was a fucking poor attempt. I'd like to see them do a really decent Nightmare on Elm Street game, like with current shit, would be fun. But any fucking way. Moving on from that, guys,
with the moves,
we're here to tell you that not everybody should have their own video game. Just because you can put your name on something doesn't mean you should.
And these are two really good examples of that.
God damn it. Basketball and platforming and fighting games. If you don't know what we're talking about, it's Michael Jordan's Chaos in the Windy City
versus Shaq Fu.
I mean, need we say more?
I'm pretty sure most of y'all know what Shaq Fu is at this point. However, I was not even remotely aware of Michael Jordan having his own game.
That man has had his face all over everything. McDonald's, Nike.
Looney Tunes.
Michael Jordan, in the late 80s and the early 90s, was a walking billboard.
Mm-hmm.
this is another example of a waste of licensing on both ends.
I mean, you have a platforming like shooter kind of ish. I don't know what else to call this stupid thing. Kind of like a puzzle solving game with Michael Jordan versus literally a fighting game of Shaq Fu.
Yeah, and the reason we stuck these two together, like, the plot involves both of these people missing a charity all-star game. Literally both games.
Probably the same game.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan is dribbling a basketball throughout this whole thing, and he shoots them at his enemies, which are like zombies with basketball heads. Or whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah.
They have kidnapped all of his teammates, and he's got to go around finding them. I don't remember the name of the motherfucker. Max Cranium?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Max Cranium, for no fucking reason, just is like, hey, I'm going to fucking take these bastards.
Some short dude with a big head.
You got to go around, like, slam dunking these basketballs to get, like, basketball coins, and you unlock, like, keys, and you have to go around opening the doors and saving all the other players. It gets really repetitive really fast, and it's not even good.
Reminds me of that Mickey Mouse game. Kind of.
Which one?
Was it Clubhouse? Mickey's or Playhouse, one of those. It was a little side-scrolling shooter that you had to unlock doors with keys and shit like that. It kind of reminded me of that, just with Michael Jordan slapped on it and Gatorade and Wheaties.
That shit is hilarious. That is one of the things about the game that is kind of funny, though, because that's his power-ups, his health and his energies are Gatorade and Wheaties.
Not to mention, one of his ball power-ups is a baseball that he throws and comes back, just like his baseball career haunts him. Just comes right back.
That's right. Every time he thinks he's getting away from it, it comes right back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a spitball.
Yeah. And then we have Shaq, who, like, we couldn't even get past the first boss in this one.
And that's the fucked up part. And I think it's very clear which one is going to go on from this one. And it's literally based on the fact that this fucking game, literally enough said, the controls are absolute fucking shit. The hitboxes are terrible on it. The concept is dumb as all hell. Like, again, he misses a charity all-star game, just walks into this random Shaolin monk, whatever the fuck's store, and he gets sent on this quest. And the fighting is, like, you could press right or left to walk, and it's like a second-long delay. Even the jumping and the punching. You can't even get a fucking bit of offense in edgewise.
Mm-mm.
It is, like, I'm not even shitting you, and I'm not saying this as my own personal opinion. This is one of the worst video games of all time. For some fucking reason, they felt the need to remake this game.
Yeah, let your mind just wrap around that for a bit.
As a remake sequel. Shaq Fu.
Oh, we can fix what's wrong with the last one by making another one.
A Legend Reborn. What?
A Legendary Turd Reborn.
I don't know what's worse, this game or Shaquille O'Neal's free throws.
I don't know. They're pretty comparable. Or as general insurance commercials. Those are pretty terrible too.
At least he nurtures his skin.
Yeah, his Gold Bond memes are fucking great, but other than that, everything else is crap.
Shaq, stop it. Get some help.
Shaq Fu moves on.
You live to fight another day, Michael.
Mm-hmm. Again.
Yeah.
Speaking of licensing and big name
feuds and
whatnot.
Oh my god.
WCW Nitro for the PlayStation 1 versus WWF Raw for the Xbox.
Y'all know me. You know me. I love wrestling.
Yeah.
I fucking love wrestling. Wow, just wrestling games are few and far between good, and the ones that are good are very fucking memorable. I can tell you right now, a lot of my favorite wrestling games were World Wrestling Federation games. A lot of people shat on the LJN licenses, like on the title, like Raw, like the Raw for Super Nintendo and the Royal Rumble one. I really liked the WrestleMania 19 for the GameCube was probably one of the best ones. Not all these are terrible. When you've got WCW Nitro, this is a joke of a fucking game. What the actual fuck were they thinking? Just, oh god damn it. Like, there is nothing redeemable about this fucking game. You start in the ring. The wrestlers are clunky looking as hell. I mean, like, I think the facial, like, features are about the only decent thing about the game. They look like they're supposed to as far as, like, height and clothing and some facial features for what you can make out because the graphics are shit. It's too fast-paced. It's really... The camera moves around the ring the whole time, so there's no, like, linear way to play these characters. There's no moves list. You kind of just get thrown in blindly and fucking just punch and push buttons.
Which is pretty much most of the games on this list.
And there's 16 of them. And there's 48 characters that can be unlocked in this game. And you have to play through a tournament mode. Just, why would you want to play through a tournament mode of shit? To unlock even more characters you couldn't do anything with.
Yeah, extending your time to play this when you really don't want to play it anyway.
I didn't care for the control scheme of this game whatsoever. They were just fucking tedious. The graphics were extremely subpar. The N64 port was actually worse, believe it or not. Because we're talking about the PlayStation 1. The N64 port, don't even fucking get me started on that shit.
Well, we won't even touch bases on that because we both know how shitty that was.
Yeah. And I think what's even worse is the fact that the WWF game, this was supposed to be a fucking launch title for the Xbox, dude. Neither of these games had any kind of, like, special mode. It was all singles or, like, tag or something. There's no specialty matches. There's no cage matches. There are no, like...
No Royal Rumble.
Nothing, dude. They were just very fucking bare bone.
So you basically pay like $40 to $50 for just little content.
Yeah, I mean, like, it says that it offers the players a wrestling experience. There is no experience. You can create your own character, your attire and moveset. The grappling system is fucking ridiculous. The graphics are terrible. And this was supposed to be, like, at the top for, like, a WWF game.
The time, yeah.
It's just not.
Because this is, like, PlayStation 2 and GameCube and Xbox era, so the graphics have drastically improved since PlayStation 1.
No, thank you. It just sucked. Like, I mean, they had, like, tag matches and shit like that, but there was no redeeming quality for either one of these fucking games. Like, I literally cannot shit on these two enough. And this is really difficult for me because whenever I was growing up during the Monday Night Wars, I was always a WWF guy. And I cannot even believe I'm going to say this, but WCW Nitro was actually better than Raw.
Well, for the aspect that the Xbox is a vastly better graphical system compared to the PlayStation 1, and it's still redeemed better on the PlayStation graphics for the Nitro game, I would give the nod to WWF Raw for being the worst one.
Yeah, so...
Because they're both horrible in their rights, but the fact that they could have done a lot better, even on the graphical side for the Xbox, they shouldn't have dropped it on there at least.
Oh, fuck no. They essentially stuck an unfinished game out. That's what happened. And that's even more fucked up because I think Nitro was actually a finished product. So they stuck out an unfinished product. So definitely Raw gets the advancement to the next round.
Sounds like an EA thing to do.
It's
just saying.
THQ's fault, believe it or not.
Well,
and that's fucked up because I guess so. THQ is kind of hit or miss. I've liked a lot of their shit, but I don't know, dude.
It's like when they miss, they really do miss.
I guess Hulkamania just ran wild on that son of a bitch. God damn it.
Oh no.
Okay, guys, we are getting into the absolute. Okay, these are bottom of the barrel because these two franchises are arguably some of the best comic things that have ever happened as far as dark storytelling goes. The Crow and Spawn. You would think we would get really awesome video games for these characters. Oh no, we were dead shit wrong.
We were given I don't even know how to describe these. So
It's the Crow City of Angels versus Spawn the Eternal.
Seeing the introduction to the Crow, I was confused because it's nothing but a fucking green mist, and all you hear is just random dialogue, and then it cuts to the gameplay with you not in the center of the screen. You're on the bottom right of the screen in this 3D quote world, and you're basically playing like Resident Evil type camera angles. Like, it just adjusts to certain fixed angles the entire time you're fighting, and that's how the gameplay is. You have very poor combat system and controls along with this fixated camera.
Yeah, and the fucked up part, it's a 6-directional side scroller.
Yeah.
Like, all of it's from an isometric view. You are fucked. If you were trying to go somewhere and you're holding a button down, you are fucked when that camera angle switches. And it's not even, the combat system is bullshit.
Yeah, because the hitbox, that's another problem with a lot of these games. Hitboxes, they don't register properly like they should. This is a very good example of that. They just, you're right there in front of them. You still don't hit them, but they can hit you all fucking day. Like it's nothing.
The fucking... Dude, the 3D rendered backgrounds at the time were really decent, but the problem was the actual characters themselves. Like, the visuals, like the faces on the characters were just fucking terrible. And the biggest problem I had was the controls, obviously. But just Sega Saturn and PS1, come on. I know that looking back on a lot of these games, you're like, that's PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn. You really think you can look back in 2018 and say these are good graphics? Well, not more often than not. Some games actually age really well. This was not one of them.
There are a lot of games that did really good in those two systems. So, come on, Clown Boy.
The sound was so horrible, too. And the voice acting was shit.
Yeah, the music was repetitive because it was that cheesy, grungy rock. Just, no.
Oh, yeah, you talking about that shit stock music that was playing?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Have you ever screamed into a can? That's what the voice acting was like.
Not to mention, not just the music and voice acting, but the sound. Like, you would walk to certain areas and the sound would just explode.
Yeah, when the camera angle would switch.
Yeah, it was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I can barely hear. And then the music just stopped.
Hammer time.
Which Spawn did the same thing too. And it was even worse.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into Spawn the Eternal also.
So, you're playing Spawn, and the way this one sets up, it's behind your character. He literally has this, like, I have a stick up my ass walk to him. It goes around this, I guess it's a sewer or subway.
Yeah.
I think it's both.
It had, like, the maze style, like Tomb Raider did.
And then when you get into combat with a character, it switches all the way into a 2D, like, 3-directional or a multi-directional fighting platform. And the music just intensifies at this point. Like, it's just, like, blaring. And then as soon as the fighting stops, it just suddenly stops.
Yeah,
like, there's no trail off. Like, there's no taper. It's just...
And that's it. No cape, no nothing. You're back to just atmosphere.
The controls are just as bad. Because you don't move... Like, for example, if you're facing forward, you move forward by pressing up. If you want to go to the right, you turn your character to the right, then move up the stick. Like, you don't just move to the right and go that direction. No, you have to turn, then push forward. Like, that frustrated me so much because he handed me the controls like, you try and navigate with these and see how you feel. I was like, yeah, this is not comfortable.
Not at all. And the combat is too simple. It's not really challenging, like, at fucking all. The camera moves way too slow to keep up with the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're walking Spawn around and you say, I'm just gonna trot right along, camera leaves your ass behind, or you leave the camera behind.
Also, we found something really funny. If you pause while he's in midair, it looks like he's shitting his cape out of his ass.
Yeah, because when you pause, the cape blows up from a circle in the center of the screen to reveal your options menu. Being that you're from behind, and Spawn looks just like Venom from the back in this game. He's that hulking.
Mm-hmm.
So when he jumps, he's in a crouch position. He's just shitting a cape. Just let that sink in.
The cape poop satyr.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my god. This one, we keep saying, oh, this is really difficult. This is really difficult. This one, The Crow. Like, I feel like The Crow just...
It's hard.
It really fucking is, dude.
Like, I'm a big person about music and sound. And the fact that Spawn it's comically just atrocious. How it goes from intense battle music and fighting to like suddenly nothing. And then you could be just walking around aimlessly in the rest of the map and just the noise is literally like just random noise, just loud as fuck. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm so confused at this point.
I am.
I'm trying to navigate through this shit and I'm getting like more confused.
I am confusion.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm fucking torn.
And here's my logic, and it's half based on gameplay and half not. Gameplay wise, at least you can maneuver Spawn around and fight when need be. The Crow, you really can't. And second off, as far as The Crow is concerned, we didn't even get a game based on the Good Crow movie. We got one based on the City of Angels, the okay, but not as good as the first sequel. Why?
Yeah, I mean, I can give it that. So, The Crow.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, at least we got a Spawn video game based on the Spawn comic book. The Crow, if we're going to do a Crow video game, it should be at least based on the graphic novel or the Brandon Lee film.
True.
So now, we're down to our 10. And this is where we're going to rank them. We don't really know where to go from here except for up to the top of the shit list.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be inducting these motherfuckers into the Video Game Hall of Shame. Let's run through the fucking list. We've got Mortal Kombat Special Forces,
Sonic 2006, Mr. Birdman 5,
Birdman 5, motherfucker,
Duke Nukem died, Superman, no,
Superman, nope,
Worst of the Worst, Saturday the 14th,
yes,
Shaq Kung No,
Shaq Poo,
WWF Flaw, and the No.
Shitty of Angels.
Right.
Shitty of Anal.
So, which one of these games is playable?
Which one of these is playable?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and prop this motherfucker up.
So,
thank you, Bulbasaur.
So
you were our friend.
So, yeah, out of all of these games, which one is the most playable?
Honestly, sad to say, Friday the 13th is the most actual playable out of this entire fucking list.
So we can put that one at the bottom.
Because at least with Friday the 13th, the controls are competent and there is some kind of linear... It's non-linear, but at least there's something going on that you can work towards.
Right.
It's redeemable in that sense only.
Now... I'm thinking between Special Forces, Sonic, Duke Nukem, and Raw.
Duke Nukem is another game that's very playable, and it's redeemable on nostalgia only again. And as far as like it's not as buggy and shitty.
Okay, so
Like, so I see that one being
number
like
9.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I would say probably Raw. Mainly because it's still... There's not as much cringe-worthiness to it, I guess.
Yeah, because, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's still playable, but it's not what we expected. And the problems aren't nearly as severe as some of these other ones.
Oh, fuck no. These next 7 are going to be a shitstorm to roll through, honestly.
Tony Hawk, maybe. Or Special Forces.
Honestly, dude, I would say...
Because I think Special Forces, like you said, it's a playable game, even though it wasn't the best game they could have done.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's... Yeah.
And then probably Tony Hawk.
Yep.
So we have the first 5.
Yep. So, number 10, Friday the 13th. Number 9, Duke Nukem. Number 8, WWF Raw. Number 7, Special Forces. Number 6, Tony Hawk 5.
Okay. So...
Sounds like Barney Fife, the video game, but, you know, that's neither here nor there.
So now we have...
Shots fired.
Bestiality.
Bestiality, the game. I think
Which compared to the other 4, I would probably put that as number 5.
Sonic?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, think about it. There's the Crow.
Never mind.
There's the Crow.
I'm looking at the list we've got left, and I'm just like, yeah.
There's the Crow, Shaq Fu, Worst of the Worst, and Superman.
God damn. Why? Why do we do this to ourselves?
Okay. Hear me out. Best of the best on 4. Only because it's still some redeemable quality with how shitty the controls are.
You mean in terms of comic relief over like, oh my god.
Because I can back up my character.
and win somehow.
Yeah.
You can be like, guys, ladies and gentlemen.
Ja Rule.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was John Juvenile. I was going to say, ladies and gentlemen, you too can be like Juvenile and back that ass up in Best of the Best, a.k.a. Worst of the Worst, a.k.a. Chest on Chest.
Be a badass motherfucker.
Yeah.
When you back that. So we're backing that into 4.
We've got the top 3 coming up now, guys. This right here is where it's really fucky. You've got The Crow, City of Anal. You've got Shaq Fu.
And, yeah. Superman 64. I say The Crow is 3. Because you can still progress to a degree.
If you really feel like sitting down.
Given the last chance every fucking level.
We've got some news reports going on back there.
I know. They're like giving a study on these poorly made games and what they're going to do about these designers that make them.
They're talking some mad shit.
Mm-hmm.
Mad ass shit back there.
So, Shaq Fu and Superman.
This is bad.
I mean, the only thing I can redeem about Superman is the fact that it's Superman. Other than that, I could give 2 fucks about Shaq.
I think the problem that I've got with both of these games, and you're right, this is where it's really difficult for me, only because I hate that Superman game so fucking much because that is not Superman.
No.
That is a fucking glorified obstacle course.
Yeah.
It's a glorified fucking obstacle course.
But the thing is, even as bad as it is gameplay-wise, you can still progress.
If you get good enough to progress, you can.
With you playing Shaq Fu earlier, like, you couldn't even get past the first fight. And it had literally nothing to do with Shaq. Being that he's a professional basketball player fighting Kung Fu.
So, ladies and gentlemen, number 2, taking the shit spot, is Superman for the Nintendo 64.
Nya. I know. That probably puts like a lot of heart attacks out there because we didn't put Superman number 1, but you have to understand our logic here. It's not solely on it's a piece of shit game. It's the fact that Superman still trumps Shaq.
Yep, and Shaquille O'Neal's looking at that number 1 spot like...
It's free real estate.
And, yep. So, the winner of the flop 10 video game, Shaq Fu.
Dun, 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 dun.
Fuck that game. Fuck that game up its stupid ass.
Up his Shaq Fu poop.
God damn it. Putting all these together, it's so fucked up just to look at this list of games. I shit you not. Even before we hit record, I couldn't have told you that this was going to be number one. I didn't know which of these would make it. Because fuck all of these games. Even the redeemable ones, fuck them.
We have a lot of honorable mentions, too. That we were like, man, this really deserves... Like, you said some, I said some. And I'm like, but are they really that bad? And they're bad, but they're not this bad.
No, they really are. They're really not. Like, two of the games we fought, not really fought, but two of the games that we thought very heavily about putting on this list were Star Wars Battlefront and Resident Evil 6.
Which are both playable to a degree. It was just the expectation was not what we wanted.
Oh, no. Because, like we've said before about being redeemable, at least fuck that thing. At least at the end of the day, somebody bit the dust.
Yep.
At least at the end of the day, Star Wars at least had graphics. It at least had sound design. It had a lot going for it. I think the complaints on that were all the buy-ins that you had to do for it.
It was half a game for full price.
Yeah, that was the main gripe about it. But other than that, playable, yes. Resident Evil 6, for a Resident Evil game, it's shitty. For a video game in general, it's not terrible.
Too much of a transition from action. It's just, you were survival horror, now you're just shoot 'em up. Not what we want. So.
Yeah. But we did play some, some really, really fucked up shit trying to find some of this stuff. And some of them I can't even remember, but I will say this, most of them were Sega Genesis games.
Smash TV. I complain heavily about that game. For one sole purpose. It's not a bad game for concept. It's just the controls pissed me off. Because you could be facing one direction, but when you shoot the other direction. I don't know how that fucking makes sense to me. Because the only way you can even navigate that whole fucking arena is if you basically shimmy against the wall, basically. You stick to the wall and shoot at an angle. Because when you go the one direction to get away from enemies, you shoot that direction. You don't shoot the other direction. So I'm just like, how the fuck am I supposed to navigate this shit?
And wasn't it like there? Because I want to say Smash TV was also an arcade game. This was a port,
mm-hmm.
And it's based on. I don't know too much about it. I just know that it was an arcade game, but it looks like some kind of really fucked up, TV, like reality TV sport where you're murdering the fuck out of people, for lack of a better word.
Imagine Oregon Trail's hunting simulation with intensity. Because that is exactly what the fuck it was. Glorified Oregon Trail hunting.
Glorified Oregon Trail hunting. What was the and see, I feel stupid. I'm trying to remember the name of that one game that I played where it was like a it was like some kind of like sorcerer magician.
Oh, Mystic Defender.
Yeah, dude. Holy fuck.
That thing got me confused. Like, okay. One of the mini bosses was this rolling demon creature, and the only way you can beat him is if you're in the trees.
Yeah, and you pretty much have to fucking spam the shit out of him because he's gonna jump up to a certain spot where he can't reach you, but you've got to constantly fire off
your Kamehameha.
Yeah, basically. It's actually a sequel to a video game called Spellcaster, and it's almost the same fucking premise. But the second stage
with the dancing demon babies.
Yeah.
I had to post that on my Snapchat because that was just too fucking funny.
Yeah, that was pretty shit.
It was like Thriller, basically.
Which we weren't gonna put it on there, but while we were playing, we wound up coming across Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. I don't give a fuck who you are, man. Like, it's Michael Jackson. That game was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun and it's goddamn magical.
And then you played Midnight Resistance, which is a Contra knockoff. Look, if you have to sit there and collect card keys from enemies to unlock weapons to use in the map, Something's wrong here.
And the fucked up thing is, it doesn't require much. You can just take my word for it and take Cody's word for it. I played this game one-handed at one point.
Because you push one button to auto shoot the entire time. All you got to do is just jump and move.
That's it. That's all you got to do. And I damn near made a big lunge to put this on here just because it was a Contra knockoff, and it just God, the AI, the hit detection, everything on it was shit. Fuck that game. But yeah, I think that was most of our honorable mentions.
I don't know. There was that one game I was trying to do. What was it called? Something Evans. I can't remember the name. It was, if you imagine Castlevania with Happy Wheels. Because the character model, he walked around like a fucking retarded crash test dummy, like on Happy Wheels. You hit down on him, and he would crouch down, and he would walk crouched, and then he hit down again, and he would prone himself, and he would walk around. He would crawl.
Ernest Evans?
Yeah, Ernest
Evans.
And I'm like, I don't even know how I'm getting prone, for one, or crouched. Two, his whip like just flails like a fucking seizure patient. Just blah, 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 like just that's all it is.
You know what's disappointing though, dude? For the Mega CD release, the soundtrack had animated. There was a soundtrack and there was animated cutscenes by Madhouse.
No redemption there.
None.
But yeah, that game was just so fucking stupid. I my head hurts thinking about it. Like the gameplay was boring. The combat was just all over the place. The character himself was uninspiring and just like poorly designed. That was a heavy contender.
I love it. I got nothing. I think that's it. Cause
I mean, y'all have plenty of source material by this point.
Yeah, you really fucking do. Like, if you want to check out any of these games, I think there are emulators you can find most of this shit on to go see for yourselves.
Or just YouTube it.
Yeah, I mean,
save you some strain.
Yeah, somebody out there has played these games. Besides us, somebody out there has played this shit. Yeah, that's all I got for it, dude.
Same.
So we're gonna run through it again. Here's our 10 from 10 to 1 for the worst games. Friday the 13th, Duke Nukem Forever, WWF Raw, Mortal Kombat Special Forces, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, Sonic 2006, Best of the Best, The Crow City of Angels, Superman 64, and the fucking winner,
Shaq Fu.
Yeah. I got PTSD just reading that shit.
I'm seeing you have flashbacks in your eyes right
I have
now.
post-traumatic Shaq disorder.
Blech.
Fuck! Any fucking way. Guys, next week, we are coming back strong with Cult Cinema Showdown 13 for episode 52. You guys voted and made this shit happen. We are talking about shitty video games today. We're going to be talking about some video games that were turned into motion pictures. You guys out there gave us a contender for Street Fighter. So, therefore, it will be Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat.
Dun, dun, dun.
Fuck yeah. So, for those of you that did vote, we are going to announce the people that have voted for Mortal Kombat on next week's show. Those of you that have voted and you voted for the winning film, you're going to be getting a free Super Media Bros button. God damn it.
We're going to button you up.
Button you up. So if you're listening to this one and you voted for that film, please DM us on our Facebook page and we will get all your shipping information and we will send that shit out to you.
Slide into our DM like for the button. But if any other reason, you can.
Slide into it like Shaq Fu slid into first place.
And into that gold pond.
Skin. I
nurture my skin. No, tell everyone.
God damn it, I love that.
Foot powder spray.
Okay, so I think what we need to do is go find that picture and post it on our Instagram as the winner. It's just his big dumb fucking face.
I don't know. I have that gif of him with the lotion and it says masturbation on the bottom. That's like a standby. I just don't want to fuck with people.
Masturbation.
And he just does his little wink like masturbation. Yeah.
Gold dong.
Bowl dong.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys. So, Facebook.com/SuperMediaBros.
Yeah.
Twitter.com/SuperMedia_Bros.
Nurturing.
Instagram.com/SuperMediaBros podcast.
Tell everyone.
Gold bond our stupid pictures.
Yes. I know I sound like this right now.
It's free real estate.
But we are not fucking around.
No.
We're not fucking around.
If you don't, we're gonna come hard at you like Shaq Fu does on your soul.
Yeah.
There will be no more nurturing from here on out.
No more nurturing of the skin.
Mm-mm.
At all.
We're gonna Superman you out into the ground and glitch out and be like, you're done.
Peace, bitches.
Turn the game off.
I think it's about time to turn this game off.
Yeah.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. That's it. That was the Flop 10 Video Game Hall of Shame, episode 51. Until next time, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
And I've been Owakame.
Shaq Fu!
What?